Welcome in, comrades. My name is Jack Sperry, and this is the Commanders Report. On today's show, I'm going to be breaking down ESPN draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr.'s draft grades for your Washington Commanders. Usually, you have to pay for ESPN Plus to get this kind of premium content, but here on the Commanders Report, we're going to give it to you 100% free. Before we get to the action today, go ahead and share with the class here. What is your favorite memory as a fan of the Redskins, Washington football team, Washington Commanders, whatever it may be? What is your favorite memory of Washington football in your life? I want to know in the comment section. Give me that memory in the comment section. All right, so now before we get into Mel's thoughts on the Commanders draft class this year, I want to recap what the Commanders did over the course of the week. They went up and they drafted Emmanuel Forbes here at number 16 cornerback, number 2 corner off the board. Kind of a surprise to many because Christian Gonzalez and Deonte Banks and Joey Porter Jr. were all still on the board. Then you go into round 2 and you get Jartavius Martin there, safety out of Illinois in round 2, a pick I really like. Ricky Stromberg, a center out of Arkansas in round 3. Braden Daniels, a swing tackle slash interior offensive lineman in round 4. Then you trade up to go get KJ Henry, an edge rusher out of Clemson. Chris Rodriguez Jr., a player that Washington had as a third-round grade in round 6, so a little bit of a value there for Ron Rivera. And then Andre Jones, edge rusher out of the University of Louisiana to finish things out in round 7. So Kiper's grade for this entire draft haul was a B. Now, to put that in proper context here, the lowest grade he gave was a B-. So in Mel Kiper Jr. standards, this is like a D in his standards, okay? He doesn't really give out low grades. He tries to kind of save his ass a little bit there by, if he's completely wrong on a take. He doesn't want to be really wrong or really right on anything. He kind of stays in the middle. That's kind of his philosophy nowadays, so he kind of goes with these safer grades. But the fact that it's a B when the lowest grade is a B-, that tells you that he doesn't really like this draft class. So we'll get to what his thoughts are here in just a second. But first, our pinned comment for today. What is your grade for Washington's 2023 draft class? So let me know what you guys think. I've shared my grade for this draft class before in a video a couple days back. You can go check that out after today's video. But I want to hear from you guys. What is your grade for the 2023 draft class for this year's Washington Commanders? Like I said, this is going to be the pinned comment. So it's going to be that first comment there right at the top of the comment section. You can go there, find that question, and answer today's question. So now let's get into this now. Mel Kiper Jr. and his thoughts on the first-round pick for the Commanders, which, of course, was cornerback Emmanuel Forbes. This is what the godfather of NFL draft coverage had to say about the pick. I've been calling cornerback Emmanuel Forbes at 16 overall this draft's splendid splinter because of his frame. He is a thin 6'1" and 166 pounds. All he does is make plays, though. He had 6 pick sixes and 14 total interceptions in his college career. He should play early and often in Washington. And I 100% agree. I think Emmanuel Forbes should be somebody that plays right away for the Commanders, somebody that, has long arms. He's got great instincts. He had great testing numbers, but he is a bit thin, and some people are, kind of a little bit worried about that because you got Christian Gonzalez on the board and Deonte Banks and Joey Porter Jr., all of which have great size and great skill. Now you're settling for, some people say you're settling for somebody with that great skill, but not exactly the versatility that comes with having good size at the cornerback position. But you cannot deny that this guy was productive as hell in college, okay, man? Like, seriously. 3 pick sixes last year, 6 overall in his college career. That is an NCAA record, and I think he had 14 total interceptions over the course of his NCAA career there with Mississippi State. So this guy is instinctual. He is extremely fast. He's got great acceleration, and he's got great instincts in zone and man coverage. Now, because of his frame, he's probably going to have to play in off coverage until he can put on a little bit more weight, but that's okay because Ron Rivera's system, they play pretty much all off coverage. So, if you end up firing Ron Rivera and you bring in a different defensive coordinator that wants to play a lot of press, this could be a problem in the future. But in terms of right now, what the Commanders like to run on defense, right now, Emmanuel Forbes is a fantastic fit. He's probably going to be coming in playing right away as that cornerback 2 next to Kendall Fuller, who I consider a really high-end number 2 cornerback. He's not a true lockdown number 1 guy. You're hoping, if you are the Commanders, that Emmanuel Forbes can turn into that over the next couple of years. And of course, the Commanders did take Emmanuel Forbes with the 16th overall pick in this year's NFL draft. And you can get his jersey right now on the Chat Sports website. Go to chatsports.com/Emmanuel Forbes. It won't be a number 1 jersey. I will say that. His number is number 13. These are pre-ordered jerseys. It will be a number 13 Emmanuel Forbes jersey. So if you want to get a jersey for this year's number 1 pick for your Washington Commanders, you can go to chatsports.com/Emmanuel Forbes to get your jersey today. All right, so now we've gone over the round 1 pick and what Mel thinks about Emmanuel Forbes. Now let's talk about what he thinks about the rest of the draft, and he has some very interesting things to say. Mel says, the Commanders went back to the secondary in round 2, picking my 4th-ranked safety, Jartavius Martin, number 47th overall, who played a lot as a nickel. They ranked 26th in takeaways last season at 18, so they went all in on needs. They also added 2 interior linemen with their next 2 picks. Going on to say here, I thought they reached around for center Ricky Stromberg at number 97 overall, but the 4-year starter is technically sound. Braden Daniels at 118th overall is light on his feet but undersized. He is my 7th-ranked guard. The quarterback question likely will linger into 2024, and I'm not sure Washington hit all of its needs outside of the secondary with this class. And outside of Emmanuel Forbes, let's take a look at what the Commanders ended up coming away with in the 2023 NFL Draft. Of course, Jartavius Martin, somebody that I'm a really big fan of there, getting him in round 2, Ricky Stromberg, Braden Daniels, KJ Henry, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Andre James. You guys know how I feel about this. I just wasn't really blown away with this draft class for the Commanders. I just don't really see a whole lot of impact players outside of Emmanuel Forbes and Jartavius Martin. I'm feeling like Ricky Stromberg is probably going to be a rotational player along the offensive line. Like, he's going to be plugging in if somebody gets hurt. I feel the same way about Braden Daniels. I think you probably could have got a little bit more value there in the middle rounds if you were the Commanders. And then in the late rounds, you had Deuce Vaughn on the board right there for the taking. Perfect fit for what the Commanders need in their running back room. And you take another power back in Chris Rodriguez Jr. And, although I like Chris Rodriguez, he's a good player. He's a good power back. I just think that they could have gotten a little bit of a different flavor with Deuce Vaughn and got a little bit of lightning to Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson's thunder. So overall, just wasn't really blown away with this draft class, which is why my grade for this year's Commanders draft class is a C. I'm just not overly blown away with this year's draft class. There's some nice pieces. There's some nice depth pieces. It's nice to have some depth along the offensive line finally. But overall, I'm just going to give it a C, which is kind of crazy because my grade is lower than Mel Kiper Jr.'s, and it seems like he likes it even less than I do. We're going to be talking a little bit about what Mel Kiper thinks about the quarterback situation in Washington in just a second. But if you want to see my full breakdown of every single pick that the Commanders made in the 2023 NFL Draft, we have a video up on the channel right now. It's been there for a couple of days. I'm going to link that in the comments and description for you. So if you want to watch that video as well, you can go ahead and do that after today's video. And if you want to see the rest of our videos that we're going to be putting out during the offseason here, the schedule release for the NFL is coming out on May 11th. We're going to have a reaction video for your Washington Commanders, kind of reacting to which teams they play and when they have Monday Night Football, primetime games, that sort of stuff. So if you want that kind of daily free Commanders content here on the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never ever miss a video here on the channel. So now before I go, I want to talk about what Mel had to say about the Commanders' quarterback situation, because I think it's very interesting. It seems like he really wanted the Commanders to draft a quarterback this year. This is what Mel had to say. So the Commanders really are going to go all in this season on Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett as their quarterbacks, huh? They passed on Will Levis and Hendon Hooker. I would have done differently. Now, you take a look at what the Commanders have right now. It does seem like Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett are going to be those two guys duking it out for the starting position for the Washington Commanders next season. It seems like the fans are okay with that. Most of the Commanders fan base seems like they like Sam Howell. They want him to get a fair shot. 5th round quarterback last year out of the University of North Carolina. Showed some good things, but many expected them to take a quarterback at some point in this draft, and I was kind of in that same boat. I was kind of in the boat of not going and getting a Will Levis or a Hendon Hooker earlier on. I was more in the line of getting a DTR or maybe a Tanner McKee in the later rounds if one of those guys fell, but none of them did. They kind of all went off the board there early in round 4, and it just never really worked out for the Commanders. And you're going into next year with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. Hopefully one of those guys can establish themselves as the starter of this team, the leader of this locker room, and lead this team to the playoffs, because I think Ron Rivera's job is going to depend on that. And, some people were surprised that the Commanders passed on Hendon Hooker there in the 2nd round. Instead, they went with filling the need in the secondary with Jartavius Martin. Personally, I really like that move. I think solidify that secondary. That's been a real problem for you over the last couple of years. And Hendon Hooker, if he was there in round 3, maybe he would have been an option, but he didn't quite make it there. Detroit ended up scooping him up, and the Commanders ended up not drafting a quarterback in this year's NFL draft. So let me know, did the Commanders make a mistake here not drafting Hendon Hooker? Should they have picked up Hooker in the 2nd round or even the 1st round of the 2023 NFL draft? Type Y if you think yes, or type N if you think no. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say about this. I know a lot of you guys out there are big Sam Howell fans, so it'll be interesting for me to see if you guys wanted Hendon Hooker. All right, so if you want free Commanders content here on the channel, every single day we got you covered here on the Commanders Report. We try to provide you guys interactive and fun and premium Commanders content each and every day here on the platform. We are growing like crazy. We've added over 500 subscribers in just the last week. We are doing a fantastic job here. It's all thanks to you guys, so make sure you do me a favor, click that subscribe button if you want premium Commanders content here on YouTube. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I will see you guys later, and as always, hail to the Commanders.